very good standard, very good oils, and well packaged. They are a good $20 lower than French perfumes, and they're the same kind of standard.
Probably just through increased advertising and increased knowledge among St. Lucians, the people you're trying to bring in as clients. Probably then they might start demanding it from MNC.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. It's difficult.
Perfume is really good, but what she said about maybe giving it a bit of bling and maybe some customer loyalty.
And I think even more importantly,
with the French perfumes, but if you give it customer loyalty on a local level.
I agree with you on the customer loyalty, but I think with perfumes, and as a woman, you should have got the first thing is you've got to do is testing.
I said that, and
I missed it. I'm sorry, Van.
All right. Apology accepted.
Apologize. I was waiting to see where you're going to do the testing. Yes.
That's what they do. That's how they get you.
Yes, that's to say you guys are doing a good job. I mean, I haven't been here for a few months. I was very impressed with your presentation.
This week has been a good week. I mean, I know that all the time when you come in, you're excited about what you do, but you missed some of the points. But this week, I think you really got it together, and I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Now, the brilliant thing about having knowledge of marketing is that it not only applies to your business, but it can apply to anyone else's. Let's see how teams Kota and A2M2 perform.
Welcome to the big start. Your milestone this week was on your marketing and sales strategy. So over to you.
The objectives of Kota, as we have already stated, is to basically create employment for ourselves while producing, processing and manufacturing locally grown fruits under the trade name Frutal St. Lucia as illustrated by the label. We basically aim to produce and sell 180 bowls within a day. And well, currently the market share we are looking at is basically 4%, while our competitors hold the other 96% of that market.
That 4%, it would be sufficient to satisfy our budget. For example, if we were to go into business, only 4% of the available market would be sufficient, so that would be profitable in our business.
So the 4% would take care of the 180 bowls
right,
that you need to
a
bring
day.
in a day.
Yeah.
We look at the total import figures for fruits and vegetables, fruits yeah. And then 60% of that was sent to the hotels.
And hospitality.
And the other 40%, we own 4%, where we will like 4% of the remaining 40% to satisfy our...
Well, that other 40%, it will include the remainder of the imports plus what we have available on the local market from our farmers and stuff. So the total, that 40%, 4% of that 40% would be sufficient to ensure the survival of our business.
Okay. Well, basically through our market research, we set out a price range ranging from $5 to $7. But $6, we basically found out that most persons or most of our customers would be willing to purchase our product at $6. So that's our market price.
And just to add something
and it's
on
a bowl?
That.
It's a
we have identified a growth strategy with emphasis on two key areas: diversification, expansion into other agro-processing areas, and intensification, that is increasing our productivity. We'll also focus on niche markets such as civil servants, health-conscious people, and as well as...
But how are you going to
do that?
How are they going to know that?
How are you marketing to them?
Yes, now.
Right.
Well, as part of our promotion,
we'll be working in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture on the television show Agriculture on the Move, and also on the radio program, which has no cost, because as you're aware, advertising is very expensive.
And we'll also be issuing flyers and business cards.
Yes,
we're also going to use the internet to promote our product via Facebook and pop-ups, like you said.
Let's wrap this up a little bit. So the price that you're charging, let me get this right, your customers have decided that's the price they're willing to pay.
Yeah. Yes.
And that price they're willing to pay will make you enough money to cover your costs.
Yes, but it also allows room for us to make a profit.
You make a profit.
Right.
Let's have a look at the challenge.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'm Desmond Bailey, and as you know, I'm the owner of this farm. I face a problem with glut on the market. I have a good relationship with Super J, but sometimes they have excess. And I need to come up with a method on how best to market the rest of the excess. Yeah.
First of all, in order to prevent the glut, I think you should have to do some proper market research as to what will be available on the market, at what time and in what quantity they will be available. For example, I see you have lettuce, and so lettuce, there's a high demand for lettuce around Christmas time because, people into all the salads and things. So that's one where the demand is high. So I guess, for example, you have, I see celery, parsley. You can at least do some minimal processing, maybe into green seasonings or stuff. Or maybe they have other people, for example, Baron Foods, Viking, they into them seasoning things. You can also maybe see if they have any demand for celery or stuff.
Have you ever looking at selling to other markets, for example, the hotels targeting restaurants, the small restaurants?
Well, I used to sell to the hotels and the
small restaurants.
Yeah, but then the hotels, the payment terms and whatever.
You mentioned hotel and the payment terms. It's best to get half a loaf than none. If your produce going to spoil and you never fact that it's going to spoil, instead of letting it rot, you could sell to hotels and then get paid for it in
I'm not saying that, but then when people work for you, they want their money right. Very expensive business. Yes, it's not like before. So you need to know where your money coming from.
One of the things that you guys are, since you've been working and you have somebody like that, most of the lettuce that you buy here is basically presented one way. And if you go into a supermarket in the US, there are many different ways of buying lettuce for a housewife. It's cleaned off, it's bagged, it's prepared, it's cut. And that would be a very good combination of actually presenting his glut and packaging it differently.
So one thing I found, he said he had the problem with the glut, and as Nikolai said, well, since you already have the produce, even if there is a glut, you must still get it out on your hand. You will not let it spoil. So whatever price you get, whatever market, you have to try and get it out in one way or the other.
Okay, all right.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Good job.
We were able to identify our target markets, and we identified those persons who fall within the age group of 11 to 25 years. Those persons would encompass lower and middle income persons who are in their formative years. Also including students who are also doing dance or CXC at secondary schools. We're looking at persons, male and also females.
When we started looking at our pricing, we used 3 basic criteria to help us with the decision on our prices. The first was our initial market research. Then we used our competitor analysis. We wanted to find out what the competition had people paying. So it wouldn't be too far from them. We have a price that was competitive. And then we looked at when we were doing our projections, if the price that we chose would be feasible or not.
Now, obviously, with a new business like ours, we would consider all of possibilities, media, print, radio. But however, we also have to consider price, and we're looking for the more effective price, but to get to the larger market. And I think print would be one of the most effective ways to go to for that startup. Also, we want to do some public relations, go into the schools, because we're trying to target young adults and teenagers. So go into the schools, speaking to them. You see, people like to see you there, so they know it's real, rather than just word of mouth and things like that. So if they see somebody, they can relate that this is tangible, it is actually happening. So that's why it's important that we go to the schools and speak to them about it, and go to radio stations, do interviews, and get affiliated with that.
Well, we are looking at 30 students per class.
At $100, right?
Right, at $100.
So $100 is one class?
No, $100 is a month.
Monthly payment per student.
That's right now.
Okay.
If you notice, by the third month, the figures there pertain to 30 students.
Okay.
We're saying that by the third month, we would get our 30 students. We could see, yes, that our free cash before the loan payment is negative 2,100, and our free cash after is negative 3,936. But if you look at our accumulated net cash, it's positive 2,064, and that is because of the personal investment that we made. Now in July, where we see an additional $15,000 coming in there,